In this video, we are reviewing the GVM SD300D. It's a 300 watts light, so it's very bright. Do you need it? Yes, you do. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to also have a look at the build quality and all of that good stuff. So let's just do this. Now, let's start off with the build quality. The build quality is very good. It's a hard plastic where there's a higher chance of wear and tear on the light. They actually have aluminum pieces there, which is very clever. It has a double yoke system on it, both on the right and left side, so you can attach massive soft boxes and it's not going to drop or droop at all because it really stays in place. The mount is a standard bounce mount. There is a lampshade or a reflector included, which makes the SD300D even more powerful, extremely bright light. Now, before we continue with the build quality, I forgot to say that I'm actually using the GVM SD300D right now with their smaller softbox. It's a 60 centimeter softbox. We're going to talk more about the softbox and the kits in general. Also, the light stand is from GVM. The power cable is nice and long. You can connect it to the light and there's a clip on it, so you don't have to be afraid of the cable being pulled out by accident. There's also a strap included so that you can connect the power brick to the light stand itself so it doesn't keep on dangling. You have the possibility of connecting them into a DMX system. Furthermore, you can control it with your iPhone or Android, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And the physical buttons on it, you have basically one button and one dial where you control the Kelvin and the intensity of your light. You can also put them in various modes, like a master mode or a slave mode. So if you have two or more of this light, you can connect them together, use one light as the master, put the other lights in slave mode, and in this way you can control all of the lights using only one app. They will all regulate at the same time. You can set the intensity from 1% in increments of 1% all the way up to 100, and right now this light is set at 30% intensity, very low. And like this, we're also going to talk about that a bit later, the fan will not come on. The rim light that I'm using right here is set at 10%, but it's a 60 watt light and the fan is on. We're going to talk about 60 watts compared to 300 watt at the end of the video because that is quite important. As mentioned, it's now on 30% and there's absolutely no fan noise at all. You can control the light with your iPhone or Android, where you can switch the light on or off, regulate the color temperature and the brightness. I think I forgot to say that this is a bi-color light where you can go from very warm light to very cold or blue light. Now, there's an issue with that. If you have seen other videos reviewing this specific light, they all say the same thing, and I was very eager to see if this was actually true. And it is true, the Kelvin temperature that is stated on the light is not accurate. This should now be set at about 5,600 Kelvin, but it's actually on 7,000 Kelvin. Now, for me, that's not a problem because I can just eyeball it and it doesn't really matter if it's not accurate what says on the screen and what it produces. But I do understand that it can be an issue in other situations, especially if you start to mix different lights, mix different brands. So, I mean, that is a weakness, but you have to decide if that's an issue for you or not. I think that most of us can eyeball the temperature anyway. I leave it up to you. There is a very nice carrying case included, and it's padded well so that when you go to and from shoots, your GMV light is going to be well protected. Also, depending on the kit that you're buying, GVM sends me a light stand as well, which you can fold, and it's got very wide legs on it so that the light stand does not tip over. Use sandbags. Speaking of softboxes, in the kit that they sent me, there is a optional 60 centimeter softbox, and it's not a quick mount softbox. You do have to put all the spokes into place and mount it yourself, which can be very difficult in the beginning. The more you mount it, you do find your own tricks and methods on how to mount it faster. There are some videos out there that shows you how to mount it fast. But if you're going to use this softbox mainly at home, you mount it once and you never have to think about it again. But the more you mount it and dismount it, the easier and quicker it's going to be as well, I'm sure. I don't want to do it again. Now, why do you need a 300 watt light compared to, for example, a 60 watt light? You might think there's way too much light, it's way too expensive, I'm never gonna put it on 100%. That might be true. However, if you do buy a 60 watt light, which is cheaper, the fan noise, as mentioned, will come on if you use it over a long period of time. Now I'm sitting here with the GVM lights about 2 meters away. My Godox SL60, I'm using that one today on purpose as a rim light that lights me up from the back. You cannot hear that, but I can hear the fan, and that light is 3 meters away, so it's further away than the GVM. And the Godox SL60 is now set on 10% intensity, and there is a noise from it. So if you use a stronger light like the GVM SD300D, you just put it down to maybe 20% is going to be enough for you, and the fan will probably never switch on because it's made for outputting much more watts. So that's one reason to get yourself a stronger light. I don't know if you can hear some kids playing outside. Another reason to get yourself a 300 watt light compared to a weaker one is if you shoot slow motion. Shooting slow motion, you need to have a lot of light because you need to dial down the shutter speed of your camera. But with this guy, you can easily film at 300 frames per second and you're gonna light the subject or whatever you're filming really evenly and well. Furthermore, you might be in a brighter room. I was on a shoot a couple of weeks ago where I had a 200 watt light and I was filming a subject next to a window and I wanted to see the view, including the subject. Even a 200 watt light was not powerful enough. So there might be situations in the future where you just wished that you had a little bit brighter light. You can never have too much brightness in a light. The price varies quite a lot. It's about $500–600 US. They're also easily accessible around the world in general, so check out the links because you might find an offer on either Amazon, B&H or Otherama if you live in the States. Until next time, my name is Paul and I'm signing off. Peace! Oh! Stop recording.